Alfred Greedy's life was not the same following his incident with the apple tree. The other engines loved to tease him about it, especially 98462 and 87546. Be careful out there, Alfred. Mind those apples today. It's Apple Greedy. First being told off by the old-timer, now being laughed at by the nameless ones. At least my work's more important than theirs. Wish they'd remember that. At first, the other engines found the teasing a great joke, but eventually, Alfred began boasting about his importance to such an extent that it was worse than before he crashed into the apple branch. Even the coaches twittered nervously if they thought they were to be pulled by him.
Making out like he runs the railway or something. It's disgusting, Henry grunted.
I wish I could think of some way to teach him a lesson, huffed Winston, but I just can't seem to think of anything. Fortunately, he wouldn't have to do anything. The railway was getting lower and lower on coal, so Gordon and the bigger engines had to take on very little coal, much to their annoyance. But of course, Alfred Greedy acted like he was the most annoyed out of all of them. I don't get it, he moaned one day. I'm probably the most hard-working red engine on this railway, and yet I receive an insufficient amount of coal and not enough water. This railway should be ashamed of itself. But of course, everyone else just went about their work, completely ignoring him. Is anyone even listening to what I have to say? He growled. He angrily watched Eagle back down onto his passenger train. Alfred seethed with fury as the guard blew his whistle. Come on, come on! He barked at his coaches. All in good time, all in good time, they grumbled. A few days later, some new coal arrived to the railway. It was dustier than the regular island of Sodor coal. The other engines complained that it smelled funny. I don't want to take this coal, said Thomas, but he did it anyway, because he had to. But the next day, when Thomas went to fetch the coaches for another engine's train, the coaches felt heavier than usual. His wheels slipped and he could not move the heavy coaches. Come on, come on. You're so heavy. Have you gotten fatter? How dare you? Cried the coaches. Thomas barely moved another foot when he ground to a halt, smoke and steam hissing out of his sides. But he wasn't the only one. Engines all over Sodor were overheating, feeling ill and covered with smoke. The others tried to warn Alfred Greedy. Huh! I'll bet that you two only broke down because you're little engines who can't handle the strength of the coal. I'll bet it wouldn't happen to a big engine like me, he boasted rudely. Edward groaned and sighed. You know what, Alfred? Go ahead and try. I'm not even going to try and talk sense into you anymore. Alfred Greedy smirked. You know what? I will, just to prove you, old iron, wrong, he sniggered while puffing pompously away. Even 98462 was tired of Alfred's ignorance. Soon Alfred Greedy entered the platform where his coaches were waiting. He glanced over and saw 4 trucks filled with the new coal. An idea flew into his funnel. Oh, driver, Wouldn't you want to make my passenger run as smooth as possible? Yeah, I suppose so, said the driver. Then why don't you fill my tender up with that new coal over there, so I can go as fast as I like, without having to stop for coal and water at every station? That seems like a good idea, said the driver, suspecting nothing. It was arranged. Alfred Greedy moved to the track next to the coal trucks and filled his tender up with all of the coal. Huh, I'll show old Edward, he sniggered as he moved toward his coaches and backed onto them with a bump. Now come on, he said as he moved out of the station with his new coal. Suddenly, Alfred Greedy began to feel a little strange. I must be going too fast. Then, smoke and steam began to burst from his insides, and he found himself going slower and slower right in front of Henry's tunnel. He was letting off steam like anything. He was stuck. Then suddenly, out of the tunnel, came Eagle and Sir Topham Hatt, right next to Alfred Greedy. Eagle couldn't help but laugh. Well, 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 he chuckled. Looks like we found the culprit who stole all the coal. What's the matter, Alfred Greedy? You look a little red. Then out of the coaches stepped Sir Topham Hatt. Well, Alfred, I can't say I'm proud about what you did, because, well, I'm not. I'm actually very disappointed in you. How could you take all the coal when you knew it was meant for all the engines? You ought to feel ashamed of yourself. Yes, sir, Alfred said solemnly. But, Sir Topham Hatt laughed, I should be thanking you, because I needed a way to get rid of all that bad coal, since some new good coal is on the way here. So, in a way, your greediness helped me. He spun on his heel and turned away laughing. That night, Alfred slunk into the sheds. There was a whisper from behind him. Hey, Alfred Greedy, do you want to take my special freight train? It's full of coal so you can be as greedy as you like. Alfred seethed in silence. All of the engines laughed, including 98462 and 87546. Alfred Greedy thought that for big mainline engines, they were being very silly indeed.